Hey, good Friday morning to you. Welcome to Friday's edition of the 3-Minute Bridge. Did I mention it is Friday? Hey, before we jump into our verse for today, let me remind you where we've been. Verse 13 taught us that God doesn't bring temptation. Verse 14 taught us that when we fall to temptation, that we are the ones responsible. We are drawn away by our own lust. And so verse 15 picks up and says, then when lust has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is accomplished, it brings forth death. Now there's a lot we could say there, but let's just pull out one truth for today. And that is that this all begins with our ungodly desires. Now watch the language that he uses. When those ungodly desires have conceived, then they give birth to sin. There's a process there. It is these ungodly desires that grow and develop until the sin is actually committed. So the initial temptation is not the sin. It is where that begins, but over time it develops and grows until it becomes sin. Now, let's cross the bridge. Do you want to overcome sin in your life? Are there some things in your life that you would like to just get rid of? Right? Well, of course there are, right? Of course there are. And so the place to start is at the beginning, to catch it on the front end. And James helps us a lot here by telling us, giving us the process. We can see where things started, because the thing to do is to catch this before those ungodly desires really get rolling and they get stronger and stronger and harder to corral, right? And so he uses this language that these ungodly desires, that they eventually conceive and they give birth to sin. Now, Martin Luther actually spoke of this and gave a great illustration of this. And he said this, think about this. He said, you can't keep a bird from landing on your head, but you can keep him from building a nest there. Let me repeat that, think about it. He said, you can't stop a bird from landing on your head, but you can keep him from building a nest there. And that is, these thoughts may come, these ungodly desires may be there, and you can't prevent those from ever coming. But you don't have to keep them there and play with them and give them time to grow and develop and get stronger until eventually they are going to give birth to sin. So you can keep a bird. You can't keep a bird from landing on your head, but you can keep them from building a nest there. And that's really when these things, look, the longer these ungodly desires grow and are given time to develop and fester, the more difficult it is to walk away from them. So it's to catch them on the front end. And it is so good that James gives us here this picture of how this all works. So we know, catch it early. And so as you do that today, as you take those thoughts captive that come, those ungodly desires, and you lay them aside, you say, no, I'm not going to dwell on that. As you do that, you will be crossing the bridge from God's Word into your daily life. Hey, it's Friday, and so just so you know, this Sunday at the bridge at 7041 Morris Mill Road, we will be taking these same scriptures from this week. I think it's like verses 9 through 15 of chapter 1. And we will be going more in depth over those same scriptures that we've covered this week, this Sunday morning. So if you don't have a church home, we'd love to have you come and join us. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you Monday for the 3-Minute Bridge. Lost my clicker.